Good morning, good morning, good morning, YouTube. Thank you for watching the Solid Sports and Gaming channel. You're watching the Solid Sports video blog, episode 341. Today's date is August 27th, 2026. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm Troy Weston. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me this morning. Um, like I said, not much to talk about on the show today. We're going to cover a lot of things, but we're not going to talk too much about anything. Kind of quiet. Most stuff is off the court or off the field, whatever sport you choose. But we're definitely gonna get into the MLB. We're gonna look at the current standings as teams are starting to separate themselves a little bit as we did at the end of August. So really a full month of baseball still to go. Teams still jockeying for the wild card and division titles in both leagues. We'll take a deep look at that. NBA news. Kind of loud but quiet signings. Klay Thompson decides to go to Miami to join Giannis, Bam, and Bobby Portis and that crew. Um, Big pickup for the Heat. I still think they need a point guard. DeMar DeRozan going to the Nuggets. I think that's an underrated one. I think that one didn't. That one was a pretty quiet deal. But DeMar DeRozan has been an All-Star in this league. He can definitely be a help to the Joker and the Nuggets. So we'll talk a little bit about that other NBA news as well. NFL, this is the final week of the preseason, so we're 2 weeks, well less than 2 weeks away from the regular season. Um, so I'll be doing my preview so soon. Got to get that together. Power rankings will come back. My picks, all that'll be coming back for the season. So I'm really excited about it. The season opened on a Wednesday, so that's why we're less than 2 weeks as the Seahawks open their defense as defending Super Bowl champions against the New England Patriots. But we're going to talk about the preseason more today. Um, they eliminated the Pro Bowl. That was news. So there's no more Pro Bowl games. Well, the Pro Bowl been gone, but now the little flag football and the little games is done. So they probably just have some type of honorable thing. So we'll see how that goes this year. Other news we'll get into the NFL, and we'll touch a little bit on college football because that starts actually tonight. A lot of teams on the lower levels playing, as they call this week zero. So we got college football is already here, and we'll check out the WBA. It's all the 8 teams that's going to the playoffs have clinched. So we'll take a look at that. Um, the Sky and the Fever game got um, very high views. And we talk. I touch a little bit on the Enos Cantor thing as well today. So that's all lined up for today. So let's go ahead and look at the MLB standings. Um, American League East, Tampa still leads, but the Yankees have closed the gap. Is now a 3.5 game lead. Boston is 6 man. Boston, the season that they had such a up and well. Now it's on the upside, but like I said, I know I buried them. I thought they was done for the year. They turned it around. Now in a solid third place in the division. Orioles and Blue Jays still hanging in there as far as wild cards, but they are almost 14 or more out for first place in the division. Central, Chicago White Sox, sort of surprising, They've been having some rough years, but they holding on to the division lead, 2.5 game lead over the Cleveland Guardians. Minnesota Twins is 6.5. Detroit 8. Kansas City 11.5. But Kansas City pretty much. Well, it depends on how you look at it. They probably still in the wild card somehow, but we'll look at that in a second. Um, AL West probably gonna be crazy all year long. Houston, Texas, and Seattle all within 2.5 games of each other. Then the A's and the Angels are way out of it. National League, big win for my Braves last night. They defeated the LA Dodgers. Dodgers been sort of cruising along, um, but very important series because we want to be at least top two, so we don't have to play that wild card round. So, but the Phillies are right there, 4.5. Kyle Schwarber hit his 40th home run last night. I think that's lead the league Um, Miami Marlins 2 over, but they 10 out. Washington and the Mets 17 and 18 respectively out. Milwaukee Brewers though had the best record in baseball. They are leader in the Central. Cubs are 6.5 back, and then there's a big gap. St. Louis 16 and a half, 18 for Pittsburgh, 19 and a half for Cincinnati. So Milwaukee is dominating that division, and the Dodgers I just mentioned 8.5 game lead over the San Diego Padres. 9.5 over the Diamondbacks, and then real big drop off 26 and 28 San Francisco and Colorado. So now let's look at the wild card, which is definitely earned this name because there's a whole lot of teams left. But it's a little separation now, a little bit. Yankees is the top wild card. Then Boston is the second one. They look like they're going to keep those two. Cleveland got the last one for now, but they got a 2 game lead over the Texas Rangers. Baltimore Orioles still in at 2.5. Toronto 3. Seattle 4. Minnesota 4. Detroit 5.5. Then there's a little bit of a gap there. Kansas City at 9. Um, Angels and A's 15 to 16. So pretty much can declare their season over. National League Cubs with a +4 lead is the top wild card. Philadelphia 2 +2. Padres have the last spot right now. Diamondbacks 1, and then it's like I said, it's a little bit of a gap there now. Miami's 4, St. Louis 6, Pittsburgh 7.5, Cincinnati 9. Everybody else is more than 10. Washington, Mets, Giants, and Rockies all at least 10 out at that wild card. So the National League starting to separate a little bit, um, with the least, as far as playoffs. We'll see if Miami and St. Louis can still hold it in, but they start to slip. So National League definitely um, starting to see the separation. American League still pretty much the whole league is still involved, pretty much under the Kansas City, the A's, and the Angels. But everybody else still right there. Still, like I said, still a month left to go in the season. So um, it's gonna be crazy. We'll see how days change. But yeah, the National League starting to see who's going to be there and who's not. So still a lot to talk about. But good news I've seen here for the Dodgers. They've been dealing with injuries all year long as well. You can Tyrus Skubal makes his return this weekend against the Tigers. He will pitch Friday, and they say Sonia Tony might get back on the mound on Sunday, so that's good news for the Dodgers. The Dodgers, like I said, I know that they've been struggling a little bit, but they still almost 30 games over 500, still with 80 wins, probably going to get close to 100 wins still. So I'm not worried about the Dodgers at all. Once you get in the postseason, they're going to be there. So, and I did mention Kyle Schwarber, 40th home run. Um, so that ties the Phillies record, of course. Ryan Howard, didn't heard that name in a while. He ties him for the franchise record for 40 home run season. So Schwarber will probably get about 50 again, at least. Like I said, still got a month to go in the season, so he'll get there. Philly's going to be a tough. The National League, to me, is the Dodgers, is my Braves, and put the Phillies in there. And you got to give Milwaukee their respect. Then I think it's a little bit of a gap. But I like the Cubs. They've been playing pretty good baseball. So we'll see how the National League pretty much to me is set. I think the American League we still definitely got a long way to go. All right, so that's our baseball. Got that out the way. Let's get into the NBA now. Again, I mentioned the 2 signings within the last week since we was on. Klay Thompson going to the Miami Heat. Of course, the Heat revamped with Giannis Antetokounmpo getting there by trade. Bobby Porter's uh, the, a piece that was thrown in there, but he's a big piece. Bam Adebayo. You got Nate. I said Nate Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins there. Uh, so I mean, they got a deep team. Like I said, they just need a point guard. But some people dismiss, some people that's made this a big deal, the Klay Thompson thing. Some people just saying Klay Thompson is just past his prime, so it's not really much. I'm somewhere in the middle because I still think he can contribute. He still can shoot the basketball. Now defensively, he's not as he can't move and defend like he used to, but he's still a decent defender. Um, so I think it's a good move. They need shooters around Giannis. Um, and Bam, so they could do that. Bam, like I said, Bam. I know people. The 83-point game, which a lot of people dismiss that anyway. They didn't really make it. It's still remarkable, even in today's NBA, that he scored 83 points. But he's not going to be that. And I think now it's less pressure on him to be a scorer. It's going to be Giannis. Um, I mean, he'll get his, but it's going to be Giannis and then the other players around him. But I think Andrew Wiggins is a big key if he plays to his potential. Um, they will be definitely I would definitely put them in there. But you still can't dismiss the Knicks. They're the defending champions. So I still got the Knicks over everybody right now, but the East has definitely got stronger, and so has Miami. I think this is a big move, as far as like what Miami needs. But now they need to get somebody to run the show, be a point guard. They find that. Um, and I think I heard a rumor that Drew Holiday might be potentially on his way there, because Portland's point guards are crowded. Now that they got Ja and then Dame supposed to come back, um, so yeah, I think if they get him, then yeah, and then he already familiar with Giannis, won the championship with him, so if they get him, then I think that definitely changed my mind about the Heat. I put them right there with New York if they able to get Drew Holiday. Um, Now DeMar DeRozan to the Nuggets. I know, like another day, sort of. I mean, it was news, but a lot of people say, yeah. But one thing DeMar DeRozan can do is score the basketball, and he's not a bad defender either. I think that's what Denver needs. Joker to me is more of a point center. Like he scores, but I think he really makes his hay by running the offense. So DeMar DeRozan could be that, that second scorer. Eric Gordon to be healthy. This Nuggets team, now that the West to me, like I said, is really top heavy with OKC and the Spurs. I think everybody else is either even or has a lot of questions. So I would put Denver as a solid 3 though. I'll take them over anybody else, like over Houston, over the Lakers, over Minnesota. Even though Minnesota just got Kuminga, I'm gonna touch on that in a second. With LaMelo Ball, and Anthony Edwards. I think all those teams I just said is in all you can shake them up and roll the dice. Is that you might get any of those teams there. Um, Speaking of the Blazers, we'll see what they do this year. Dame is back, so I think they'll be even better. They overachieved last year. Um, so the West is pretty crowded. And we're gonna start actually next week. We'll start doing the groups like we did last year. We'll preview the season group by group, and that'll take us about 6 weeks to do. That'll be close to the regular season, and so that's what we're gonna do for the NBA. So get ready for that. But Kuminga going to the Wolves. Um, we'll see. It could be potentially a good move. I think it is a good move for them. I just don't know. Because even when he got traded to Atlanta, he started pretty much with ground running. He was scoring. Then he sort of got lost in that rotation as well a little bit. So it's something. Um, it's something off with him. Like I don't know if it's his attitude, the way he plays. Because I haven't seen him a lot. I've seen him with the Warriors more because the Warriors was more on TV. Um, but I think, well, Steve Kerr pretty much said it was just because he was young, which I think that's true. But I think at the same time, I think the way he handled it might have even made it worse. Like I don't think he recepted it well. Atlanta, they don't. You ain't hear nothing bad, but again, he wasn't in the rotation like he wanted to be. That was clear. Um, Even in that playoff series against the Knicks in the first round, he barely played much. So I don't know, but coming to the Wolves, the good thing is they need another scorer of his size, so he's going to play. Um, but the Wolves are interesting. We'll see if Lamelo. I think he's of course a question mark because he's still young and haven't really been in a lot of winning situations other than last year. And Charlotte still let him go. He got younger, so we'll see how him and Anthony Edwards play together. I think it's less pressure on Anthony Edwards though, because he's been under a lot of pressure, having to pretty much carry the team. So I think now that relieves some pressure. Of course, he's still going to do his thing, but LaMelo can put the ball in the hole, and so can Kaminga when he's focused. So Wolves a team, they've been like I said, they playoff tested. Um, at least gotten out the first round. Every year, most of the years after that was been there. So that has to be the expectation. So we'll see how the Wolves go. But they're gonna be an interesting team in the West. But like I said, they right in the group with all the other potential West teams. I think the East is definitely from top to bottom, probably a little stronger than the West. And that's you haven't said that probably since the '90s, probably. Since that was the case. So we'll see how that goes. Another signing, sort of quiet. Mathurin signs with the Pelicans. I think he got traded to the Clippers last year on a trade deadline from the Pacers. But going to New Orleans here, get his chance to score as well. So that's the NBA news for this week. Like I said, next week we'll start previewing. I guess we'll start the East. We'll start East Group A or whatever. Or I think is it. I have to check it out. Um, I think they go A, B, C, West, and East. I think so. So if that's the case, we'll do East A and then West A. We'll rotate it like that for 6 weeks and then get ready for the regular season. So that'll be next week's show. So make sure you join me for that. Um, NFL, final week of the preseason. Um, let's pull up the schedule, look at some of the games. Of course, this week you might barely really see any starters unless they're young. Um, like for Tennessee, for example, they might play Cam Ward for a little bit. But you're not going to see a lot of starters this week for sure. Um, to try to stay healthy, get ready for week 1 of the season. Tonight's games, the Steelers at Bills. Like I say, you probably won't see no Josh Allen, no Aaron Rodgers, none of their main starters on each side of the ball. Bills, like I said, I like the Bills this year. Um, the AFC East is theirs to take. New England will have something to say about it, but I think it's those between those two. Um, so we'll see if the Bills can take advantage of that this year. Steelers, like I said, interesting team. I'm a Ravens fan, so I follow the Steelers very closely. Um, Aaron Rodgers last year. But like I said, Mike McCarthy like I said, he's not a horrible coach, but he's not Mike Tomlin. So, but they better this year. They got Michael Pittman Jr. to help with the receiver core. So we'll see the Steelers. Hopefully the Steelers offense. Then Mike McCarthy, he does no offense. And Aaron Rodgers familiar, so they're gonna be a tough team to beat. But we'll see if they have a ceiling or not. But tonight you ain't gonna really see any of those guys. Patriots at Browns. That's a Prime Video game. Browns, of course, named Deshaun Watson the starter. I touched on it last night on my video game stream, and I got a short about it. Like I said, not a surprising move. I think it was ownership. that made the move ultimately. But like I said, Browns start their first 2 games on the road. Of course, the drama with Deshaun Watson, not even just the organization, the fans, booing him and everything else. Um, he said what he said. He tried to walk it back a little bit yesterday. But I think if he plays bad those first 2 games on the road, I think they turn to Shador week 3. I don't know who they play. I could probably look up their schedule though. I know they played Jacksonville or Tampa the first 2 weeks. Um, yeah, in fact, let's do it right now. Let's look up their schedule, see who they play. But I think if he doesn't play well, I think he probably got at least split the 2 games and play decently. They might stay with him, but if he lose both games and don't play well, um, I think they might go to Shador that early. I don't think he got a long lease at all. I said 5 games at first, but then once it was pointed out to me that they on the road the first 2 games, and then they come home. So if he plays bad, I think they might make the move to Shador. Um, okay, I'm trying to load these schedules. Taking a while. Sorry, but okay, it's loading, guys. Sorry, but like I said, I wasn't surprised by the move. I like Shador. I think he's always going to be polarizing because he's Deion's son and everything that's happened with him. He had an up and down rookie season, but we'll see. But I think both guys. Well, Deshaun is gone. I don't. It'd be hard for me to see him with Cleveland next year for sure. But Shador, if he even if he comes in and don't play well, um, I think if the Browns is right, it's a deep quarterback draft. If the Browns can get one of those new quarterbacks, they will. They probably start over again. Um, so they get Carolina week 3. So they come home for Carolina, and then Pittsburgh after that is a night game, a Thursday night game. So uh, yeah, so I think if he plays bad in these first 2 games, I think they'll go ahead and turn it to Shador for the rest of the season. That's how it's going to look. And then, depending on how Shador plays, if he plays well, um, maybe Cleveland will, excuse me, um, stick with him for the future. If not, I think they'll start over again, draft a quarterback. So that's how it's looking right now for the Browns. Let's go back to the rest of the preseason schedule again. But that's my take on that. I think that's how it's going to go down. So basically, Deshaun gets 2 games to prove himself. If he don't, I think he will be yanked for Shador. Um, Niners and Raiders. Niners. I'm just gonna go ahead and touch on it now since we talked about the Niners. Uh, Ned York, the owner, no got a little bit of trouble this week. Was caught in a prostitution sting all the way in Ohio. Which is weird. What's he doing in Ohio? First of all, but that's a whole. I ain't gonna get into that really because I don't know. Um, but I mean, I guess everybody. It's more embarrassing than anything. Uh, I mean, I ain't gonna judge because I've done some things that's similar. I'm just gonna put it that way. So I'm not gonna judge the man for that. But I guess people just like why because he got so much money. Like why would you go to I don't want to call it sleazy or whatever, but basically he only was gonna pay what 140. Um, so I guess people was like, well, yeah, let's just be honest. Like especially today, you know, and I go to, I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not judging, but it's just the truth. Like Instagram models and stuff like that, you give them, some money, fly them out, whatever, you get to do whatever. And he definitely got the money for that. So, um, but I ain't gonna get into his head. Like I said, I'm not gonna judge either. I just, I mean, you just can't though. Like in his position, the Niners had a real weird off season. Um, Now it's a conspiracy theory about the power plant that they practice in. That's why the players always hurt. Um, then the thing that happened with Coach Shanahan, uh, with the car crash and everything. The Niners just had a real off season, like really weird off season. I still think they're a great team if they healthy. McCaffrey, Brock Purdy is a little underrated. Um, George Kittle if he's healthy. They get Mike Evans. I think he's the X factor if he's healthy. He'll give you something. The Ayuk thing seems like it's quiet down. I haven't heard anything from him, but he's not. He's gone. He's not coming back to the Niners. He's crossed the line too much. So that's quiet down. I think they just ready to play some football, honestly. So I think that's where the Niners stand. But uh, Ned York, you gotta be more careful, bro. Your owner, like if I think he just went on. Somebody said he had a divorce. So I get it. Like I said, I'm not judging him. But as an owner, I think it's just more embarrassing, you know, to be get caught like that. But it is what it is. Let's see if the Niners can move past all this stuff. But I think, like me, the way I've just from the outside looking in, I just think they're gonna have a slow start to the season. They get the Rams first. A lot of people said, well, they might. I don't think they're gonna win that game. I think the Rams win that game, that week 1 game in Australia. Um, but the Niners are too good. If they healthy, they're gonna be um, right there. A lot of people say, they think it can, because the Rams, and we're about to talk about them too. Every time somebody favorite, it never works out for some whatever reason. I'm not saying they're going to get hurt or anything like that, but the expectations just be too much, and usually you fall short. But it's hard to pick against them. I mean, just looking at this team, especially if Aaron Donald decides to really play defensively, like you ain't gonna be able to score, and then they can put up 40 on you on a good day if they um, roll it on all cylinders. So this is gonna be a tough division. But we'll talk about the Rams in a second. Raiders, this is who the Niners are playing tonight. Of course, the Mendoza. See how he looks. Had some ups and downs in this last game, so we'll see if he learned from that. Kirk Cousins is going to start. Like I said, I know people was thinking Mendoza could start, but no, I think Kirk Cousins is going to start the season, and then if he plays bad, Mendoza will get his chance. But I think um, I think you're better off starting Cousins and letting Mendoza sit a little bit until you have to put him in. So that's the storyline with that game tonight. Rams, Chargers. I just talked about the Rams. Of course, they might sit mostly everybody. Chargers, like I said, this is a huge year for Justin Herbert. The team, period, but really Justin Herbert, I think it's a lot of pressure on him to win a playoff game this year for the Chargers. The West, I mean, I think it's Denver. You can't count out the Chiefs, but I think the Chiefs are not the Chiefs of old. And Denver, you know, I think they're a good team. Yes, what they did last year, but is Bo Nix gonna? I think Bo Nix will have to take a step forward for them to be even better. So the Chargers have opportunity to sneak in there and maybe have a good year, but we'll see. But yeah, I think it's a lot of pressure on Justin Herbert this year to perform and win a playoff game. I think at least. Friday, Washington Commanders and the Baltimore Ravens is my team. I mean, I know this is today's NFL, but I don't like that Lamar didn't play at all in the preseason. He's not going to play tonight. Tomorrow night. Excuse me. So I don't like that because he might be a little rusty. Washington, like I said, Jalen Daniels probably play a little bit. I want to see how he looks. Because I think it's going to depend on how he plays this year, how far Washington can go. Dallas and Philadelphia is the class of that division in the East. But I think all eyes will be on Jalen, how he plays this year. They get Stephon Diggs. I think he's a veteran. Whatever you want to say about off the field stuff, I'm not going to get into that. But he is a solid receiver that he needs. So Washington could be a little bit surprised. I seen them last week because they sort of, well, Washington is a local team, so I could see them also. And the preseason games I've seen, they look pretty good. They look pretty good. They look pretty deep. So um, maybe they might be, a little bit of surprise. So we'll see. Falcons and Dolphins. Falcons to me is a mess right now with Tua, Michael Penix Jr. still not healthy. So I think Tua will probably have to start unless somehow Penix is healthy before the season starts. But um, what I've seen, it's not looking like he's going to be. So they might not have a choice but to start Tua. Tua hasn't looked good, so Falcons in the world of trouble. But they got the pieces there. Like all you need is a quarterback. So if somebody able to emerge, Atlanta could be a team that could compete, especially in the NFC North. I mean South, excuse me. Miami Dolphins, just question marks about him. Malik Willis now is your starter. He looked good when he got a chance to play in Green Bay. David Achan, I probably said it, messing his name, the running back. I think if he have a monster year, then maybe Miami can sort of compete. But like I said, they looking up at New England and Buffalo. So we'll see how their season goes. And we're going to preview the season right before the season starts. Texans and Panthers. Texans, a lot of pressure with CC Stroud. A lot of people pumping up this defense. And I'm not saying this don't deserve it, but the receiver core, they did add they added a receiver just the other day because a couple of receivers went down. But a lot of pressure on Stroud, especially how he performed last year in the playoffs. Panthers, I want to see Bryce Young, um, continue to improve. They made the playoffs last year. A lot of people didn't think they was going to. I thought Tampa would win that division. I picked them again this year to win the division because I just believe in Baker. I think he's gonna have a bounce back year. It's a contract year. He's motivated. But I think watch out for the Saints too. We're gonna touch on the Saints when we get to them. But this division is weak. Probably the weakest in football, but at the same time, it's going to be competitive. I think all four teams really have a chance to do something in this division. So very competitive division, but then when you look outside that, they don't compare to the other teams in the NFC. So going to be very interesting for the Panthers, but we'll see if Bryce Young can take that next step. Giants and Jets. Giants, another team that has somewhat weird off the field crap with Jackson Dart, introduces the president. John Harbaugh. I know John Harbaugh well, not know him personally, but he was my Ravens coach for almost 20 years. I think he's real good at managing. So maybe he can sort of get these guys together. But this is a young team. So the Giants, sort of question mark, but they got the talent. Malik Laban's supposed to be healthy. And I like Jackson Dart. He got to protect himself more, of course. So, Jets. A lot of people don't expect a lot from the Jets this year. But Geno Smith, like I said, I give Geno Smith my respect. I'm calling him a kid because I'm older than him. I'm probably not that much older than him. But he was very immature to start his career. Bounced around the league, got to Seattle, sort of revamped his career. Sort of struggled with the Raiders. But now he gets an opportunity again to lead a team. So I'm rooting for the Jets a little bit because of Aaron Glenn. I like Aaron Glenn. I know he gets a lot of flack, but I hope they win at least a little bit because if they don't, then he probably will be gone. Buccaneers and Jaguars, and these are like Friday's games now. Um, the Jags, of course, to me, again, Trevor Lawrence, same, even though he's won a playoff game, but I think he's sort of, him and Justin Herbert, sort of similar. See if he have a big year. Tampa, I mentioned Tampa already a little bit with Baker. But like I said, all these guys I'm naming probably not going to play. But I think I really like Tampa this year. I think Baker's going to light the world on fire. He's always performed well with his back against the wall. So both teams, though, but like I said, Jags. A lot of people more leaning Houston, but the Jags did win the division last year, so we'll see if they can repeat that. Um, but I think Trevor Lawrence, though, also has not as much pressure as Herbert, but he has pressure on him as well to perform this year. Bengals and Eagles. That's actually a televised game. CBS got it tomorrow night. Um, Cincinnati, of course, just two things: Burrow being healthy, um, and did they have the defense improved? They the two questions. If so, Cincinnati is expected to be a contender. I have to admit that even as a Ravens fan, Eagles, a lot of question marks, but they still the Eagles. The defense still going to do what they do. Um, I just think, I mean, unfairly, but a lot of pressure on Jalen Hurts to respond and play well. I think it's unfair because he's proven to me already, but now no AJ Brown, so we'll see. The Eagles gonna have an interesting year. I think Dallas is the sexy pick in the East, but I still believe Eagles just because of the experience. And Dallas is just always messing up. So I still like the Eagles in that division, but we'll talk about it when it's time. Seahawks and Chiefs. Seahawks defending champions. Chiefs, of course, has been the champions. Throughout the last couple of years. Um, like I said, both of these teams are established. Um, I think the only question with Seattle, I think some people still don't believe in Sam Darnold. And you think it was somewhat of a fluke. So I think, and I like what somebody like I said should pretty much turn their career around, and he's definitely one of those guys. He's won the Super Bowl. You can't take that away from him, even if he go out here and don't play well this year or whatever. He got that Super Bowl forever, so he always will have that in his back pocket. Chiefs. A lot of questions about the Chiefs. The off the field stuff with Rasheed Rice. Patty Mahomes. Now I even think this in my mind. Has he lost something? Is he the same Pat Mahomes? I think that's the question mark. But you got Andy Reid. He's a genius when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. Their defense is underrated. Um, so the Chiefs are going to be there. But now that the division is much challenging now. When they used to rule the AFC West, now Denver and the Chargers are nothing to play around with, and the Raiders have even gotten a little bit better as well. So we'll see how both these teams go. But I like Seattle. I think they'll still be a contender. Chiefs potential contender in the AFC. Saints and Cowboys. I mentioned the Cowboys. Lot of hype around their offense for sure. But defense, can they play better? Saints is one of those quiet teams where I think can have a good year. Tyler Shuck played well on the second half of the season. Um, um, the defense is underrated. Um, Alvin Kamara a little banged up. I think he's going to miss the start of the season. But the Saints to me is the team that if I'm not a betting man really, but if I was betting, I know they odds. I think you can sort of make a dollar off of them. I would put some money into the Saints this year. I think they're gonna have a decent year. It might even win the NFC South. Now, will I have the guts to pick them to win it? I don't know, but I got 2 weeks to think about it at least. Well, a week and a half when we do our preview show. But I like Dallas. I like both of these teams this year. I think Dallas is gonna be a playoff team, but uh, not sure if they're gonna win the East and. I still don't put them in the elite class of the NFC. So, um, they my two questions about these two teams. Cardinals, Packers. Cardinals. I'm not liking what I see from the Cardinals in the preseason. If that's an indication. Uh, Green Bay. Um, like I said, too much hype around them. Hype starting to creep up again. I'm like, let's just look at the North. Only because of their schedule though. But I like Detroit better than them. I definitely like Chicago better than them as well. I'm really high on the Bears. I know they got a tough schedule. Shout out to our man Caper. But I like Caleb Williams, man. It's just something about that kid. Forget all that, like I said, off the field crap. I don't got nothing to do with that. Him painting his nails and all that. Don't care about that. Don't care. what he's going to do in the football field. I think in crucial time, I think definitely, like I said, I think he take a step forward. I think his completion percentage is going to get higher. But anyway, because the Bears are on here somewhere, so we'll talk a little bit more about it when we get to them. But the Packers are overhyped to me. I think they're a good team, but they're not in an elite class in the NFC to me. I think they're a decent team, but they have made the playoffs, so I give them credit for that. They have been a playoff team, but I don't think they are on that level with the other. Just looking at the division, it's going to be tough for them. So, speaking of the other team, the Vikings, um, very, very, like I said, very Vikings and Broncos. This is the last Friday game. Broncos, like I said, can they build off last year? Almost made, probably would have made the Super Bowl if Bo Nix would have got hurt. And I like Bo Nix. I think he's going to play better this year than he did last year. The Broncos defense is decent, so Broncos to me got to be a clear favorite in the West, in the AFC. Vikings, of course, question mark. Is Kyler Murray really that guy? I believe in Kyler Murray. Um, I know he plays a little sporadic, but I believe in the kid. I think, uh, you know, if he played well, basically, if he plays well, the Vikings could be a contender. If he don't, then they in trouble because JJ McCarthy still don't look that good. So uh, they're gonna have to get something from him. But I like the Broncos though for sure in the AFC and in the AFC West. All right, we move to Saturday. I just mentioned the Lions. They play the Colts. Colts, of course. Daniel Jones. I think he's supposed to be ready for Week 1. I'm not sure about that, but of course the drama with Anthony Richardson. I gave my critique on him. Like I said, he's just a raw talent, and it's a good thing and a bad thing. He needs somebody to put some time into him. And he got to put in the time. It got to be both. Uh, but it might be with another team. Might not be with the Colts. Lions, like I said, fortunately, kind of good that they finished the last weeks, and now they got a softer schedule. And you only can go by that now, because the schedule might change, because teams might be better than you think they are, or teams might be worse than you think they are. But as of right now, they have, other than their division, they have a pretty light schedule. Jared Goff is still Jared Goff. He's going to play at least decently enough. Um, I think Jameer Gibbs, uh, uh, he's going to have a monster year because they lost. Montgomery is the one that moved on, right? Yeah. So, but I think that's a big loss for them because I liked that tandem in the backfield. But Jameer Gibbs now get to be the number one guy. Amar St. Brown's still there, so Detroit is going to be a decent team, and then now they got that schedule, so they might wind up winning the division because they have a lighter schedule than everyone else. So um, that's what I think about these two teams. And the final game of the preseason, Saturday night at 6 o'clock, Bears and Titans. Titans, I saw them Saturday night against Seattle. Really didn't play that well. Seattle's second unit pretty much blew that game, and that's why they lost. So, but like I said, the Bears. I really like Ben Johnson as a coach. I like Caleb Williams. Um, they lost. They did lose to the Buffalo Bills. The receiver, mine's drawing a blank. DJ Moore. He moved on. I think that's a big loss, but they got some young receivers that now have a chance to step up and show what they can do. So I really like the Bears this year. I know they got a tough schedule, and I still will say Rams better. I would still say Seattle's better. Not, I think them and the Niners is neck and neck, but somebody might lean Niners. Now in their own division, like I said, they got Detroit to deal with, they got Green Bay to deal with, they got Minnesota to deal with. So won't be tough for them, but I think they can take it the challenge. Titans, they young. Like I said, they still probably a year or so away from really being a contender or a decent team. Um, but I like the way Cam Ward looked a little bit Saturday night when I saw him. But he's going to have to play a lot better when the regular season starts. He might play tonight a little bit. I doubt if Caleb or other the Bears starters play. But the Titans might play their starters a little bit, just because it's a young team. But I still think the Titans are about a year or so away from really competing in the NFL again. And I love their uniforms, by the way, just to throw that in there. I like that blue that they wear. Um, I really like their uniforms. Okay, so that's it. I did touch on the Jared York thing. Uh, Now I wonder if he going, Now owners are tricky always when they do something. Will he be suspended? The fine don't matter. Like I said, he got the money for a fine. So, but will he be, like suspended a couple of games, which would be crazy. I think they did. Did they do Kraft when he got in trouble? I think he. But it's weird because you own the team, and you can't, you know. So, but we'll see. We'll see. Um, okay. Like I said, I did mention the Pro Bowl games are gone. Um, the regular game, been gone. It's been gone for years. They wet, downplayed that game for years. But in the '90s, they pretty much, it was still, you could tell, because you couldn't blitz. There were certain little rules, but at the same time, it was still football. But now, they got rid of it completely. So now they would just still honor the players. So I don't know if they're gonna have a show or will they just do everything like the NFL honors or something. Maybe they do it that way, but there's no more Pro Bowl. Which honestly, I don't have a problem with it. Um, you know, because they don't want nobody to get hurt. But it's crazy though. It's just weird. But at the same time, can't you can't emulate football. That's why I say baseball is easy. That's why I think they All Star game to me is the best, more exciting one. Even the NBA now, All Star game sucks. They keep changing it every year. Um, but like I said, I like tradition. I liked it when it was East against West, and the players wanted to play in the game. Now the players don't really want to play in the game. They don't play no defense, so that's why it's gotten bad. But the NBA used to have the best All Star festivities. Period. Um, the dunk contest is not no more, so well, not excited anymore. The 3-point contest is now like you know the top event of the weekend now. So, uh, but yeah, it's sort of sad because, like I said, me as a kid, I love to watch the Pro Bowl because all the best players got together, got to see them on the field at the same time. Like back in the '90s per se, like with Dion, Jerry Rice, um, or you see, corners against receivers, the quarterbacks. Um, so, but I think this is the best though for the NFL. I think it's the best because you can't, you know, you don't want nobody getting hurt these days, and then, um, so I think it. I mean, I guess that's all. They ain't had no choice, but now they eliminated even the little flag football game and all that too. So, is that all? Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it for the NFL. Um, um, oh well, I heard this morning also. If you get uh like illegal hit fouls, I think like the NBA, I think if you get such so many of them, you can get suspended now. So they changed that rule as well. So okay, so uh, we're pretty much done. Um, College football, like I said, is they call it week 0, but this is the week. Teams start really tonight. It starts tonight. A lot of teams play tonight. Um, but the biggest game of the weekend I'm gonna focus on is TCU and North Carolina. Well, I think they play. Is it tomorrow? Let me just check it. I know it's in Dublin. Of course, Bill Belichick is the head coach. Um, a lot of pressure on him to win this year. Been a lot of drama. His son, um, the GM Lombardi had to go. Um, so a lot of stuff going on. Let me see. Oh, see, they changed it. I think it is. Um, I say I know how to check it. I think it is Friday tomorrow. I don't think it's today. But a lot of pressure on him this year to win. But a lot of people don't expect him to get it done. So unfortunately, because Bill Belichick is very well respected. This didn't. But like I said, it's always the off the field stuff. His little young girlfriend. Uh, so um, so just a lot of stuff, a lot of distractions. And the crazy thing is, that's the Patriots. When he was with the Patriots, that's what I mean. Like that was their staple. No distractions. Like that was the main. You know. Yes, I think it's tomorrow. I think the game is tomorrow. But anyway, TCU of course is not a slouch program. So really big game to start the season. I hope they win. Like I said, I like Bill Belichick. I think he deserves more respect than what he's getting, even though it always comes down to winning losses. But I think he deserves more respect. So I hope they somehow win that game, but I don't know. Um, USC plays as well this week. They play San Jose State, I think. So USC, another team. Now with all this realignment, they in the Big Ten now, I believe, right? Yes. So um, Lincoln Riley, of course, pressure on him to make the playoff. So a lot of pressure on USC as well. So two big games. As far as like you want to see what these two teams do. Um, but the real games probably don't start till the following weekend. So, uh, but college football starts tonight. So, um, if I've seen a lot of games on there with teams, lower level teams, but it's still football. So it officially starts tonight. So, just wanted to throw that out there. Uh, WNBA. Let's look at the 8 playoff teams because the teams are clinched. I looked at it this morning. The 8 teams clinched. I think this is the final week of the season. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure on that. I've been trying to follow it as much as I can. Um, Caitlin Clark, though, I mean, she's the star of the league, the face of the league, whatever you want to put it. Been playing well. 30 or 10 games, 30 points, 10 assist games. She's the all-time leader of that by a mile. Um, the young lady on that played the other guard, she's a shooter. So Indiana's going to be a problem. But it's Minnesota. They got the top record. So they'd be the 1 seed. I think the first series is a best of 3. I think it grows each time because it's got the quarters, and then I think the semis is best of 5, and then the finals is a best of 7, I believe. Or is it a best of 5 also? But yeah, so Minnesota, your top team. Golden State Valkyries is the 2nd seed right now. Then you got Las Vegas Aces. Of course, they got championship pedigree. The Atlanta Dream is the 4th seed. Indiana is the 5th. I hope that stays because that'd be Caitlin against Angel Reese. So I hope that stays. I think the seedings can still be changed. New York Liberty 6th, Washington Mystics 7th, and the Dallas Wings are 8th. They young rookie Paige Beckers playing good basketball. So they're your 8 teams, but I still think the seedings can change because most of these teams from 3 to 8 is only 3 games separating those teams. But I don't know how many games is left. So Minnesota definitely probably clinch that 1 seed because they 3.5 clear of Golden State. So So that's they 8 playoff teams. When the playoffs start, I do some more work on that. Try to follow the WNBA, but I heard they broke some ratings records. So people are watching, but I think people are watching because of stuff like the Enos Cantor thing. Now, like I said, I still want to know what was said, um, what riled that young lady up. I don't even know her name, to be honest with you. She scored. I think she got an ad one, and then just went straight at Enos Cantor. But Enos Cantor is been a spokesman against the basically the transgender issue. I don't really call it an issue, but it's been a big topic. Um, uh, the lady that played for the Fever, her name ain't coming to me right now either, but she spoke out against it. But then you had coaches wearing certain T-shirts, fans are now involved. Now my stance on it, I definitely don't think transgender. If you was born a male, I'm gonna put it this way: if you was born a male, you should not you shouldn't be able to play in that league. And they made a little statement basically saying it without saying it, but I think that's clear. Enes Kanter spoke out against it strongly, and he got thrown out. So that's why I want to know what was said because and he was wearing a shirt I think that said uh, women on women, something like that. Basically, pro women. Um, but I mean, I think it's obvious to me because it's like, all right, well, if you start letting that happen, then what's the WNBA and the NBA? It's like, you know, so. But I guess you hear more about it. I mean, I think like I said, I think they banned him from going to other WNBA games also. So, um, he came out, him and Royce Wright, basically put on wigs and said they was going to play in the WNBA and all this other stuff. There's currently no transgenders in the NBA, WNBA. It's just lesbian women. Not saying that because that's not the same, obviously, but of course, it's lesbian women that play in the WNBA. But I like I said, I have family. Actually, I have a transgender niece. Um, so I definitely don't judge it. I had lesbians in my family. I got gay. I got I got all that in my family. No offense, but I do. So I'm not against them living life, and like the only like with me the only thing is like they still human beings, regardless if you agree with it. Because I don't agree with it at all either. Um, but I just don't like how sometimes they try to sort of throw it in your face. And I think in the WNBA they sort of try to do that. So I think that rub people the wrong way. I think just live your life. Um, it's nobody business how you live your life, but I don't like how sometimes, and I'm not just talking about the WNBA, talking about just in a whole how they just like the parades and stuff, and try to get to our kids, like leave it away from the kids, for sure. Like I definitely have a big issue with that. I don't think kids should be exposed to that, at all. Like when you be hearing um, like drag queens coming to elementary schools to talk to like what is the kids gonna learn from a no offense, but like what is the point of that? A 5, 6, 7 year old, um, you know. So that's what I think. That's what it's going too far. But as far as sports, just we will stick with that. I ain't gonna go into basically I'll be crossing to the politic realm, and I think that got a lot to do with it as well. But as far as sports, yeah, I don't agree. I don't think uh, um, born male should be playing the WNBA or any women's sport, and it's happening on lower levels. I've heard stories about track and field in high schools and stuff like that. Um, so I don't agree with it at all. So So that was the big news out of the WNBA this week. But the playoffs are about to start. I hope they start talking more about basketball and focus on that because this is an exciting league. I mean, I don't watch it a lot. I'll be honest. I don't watch every single game. I just follow it here and there. But um, this is a very exciting league. I think it's a good game. Um, and support it. Support the ladies. They play well. Um, so that's how I would just keep it at that. All right, so those are my thoughts. That's it. That's the end of the show. I've covered all the topics I wanted to cover. Next week, like I said, we're gonna start the group, the group, the NBA groups. We'll start with the East A group, and then we'll rotate it. Um, and that'll take us 6 weeks to do. Um, NFL um, special show. It'll be. I might just go ahead and knock it out next week. Or I want to do it the week of the season. So we'll see. I might do it next week. I might wait till the week of because they get this. Like I said, the season started on Wednesday, so I might try to do a Tuesday show. The Tuesday before the season, where I reveal my power rankings and everything else for the first time of the season, and then we do our picks. All that stuff is coming back this year as well, so stay tuned for that. Friday night stream special time. It'd be probably 10 o'clock instead of 8. We come on at 10 a little later, but we'll play the beta, the Call of Duty beta would be live by then. So we'll play that Friday night. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4. So we'll play that beta Friday night. And then Sunday, we're going to celebrate 500 subscribers. Actually, right now, I'm about to end the show. I'm about to get some ideas. I'm going to start looking around, see what I want to do. I might still, since it's Strike Your Vote studies, so I'm going to still try to put together a vote so y'all can vote what game you want me to play. But we're going to celebrate 500 subscribers. We'll probably look back at some other videos and stuff from the past. And I just, get my heartfelt thoughts throughout the stream. So that'll be 8 o'clock Sunday night. But I have a poll for you guys to vote on what game. I just got to decide what games to put on a poll. So all that's coming up for the rest of this week. I thank you guys. If you come watch the replay, I appreciate it. If you're here for the replay, longer show than I thought. We over an hour now. Thank you guys so much for the support. I'm gonna go ahead and shut the show down. I'll see you guys next week. So next week, like I said, NBA. We'll start previewing the season. NFL, we have look back on the preseason. Look forward to week 1. I think I'm gonna wait to do the show the following week. NFL, I'm gonna get all my predictions and stuff out for week 1 of the season. I'm gonna bring my power rankings back. Week 1 of the NFL as well. But college football starts tonight, so if you're a college football fan, you can watch college football. So yeah, but that's it. Appreciate it. Go ahead and get out of here. Thank you guys for coming in. Rolando, I know you're late, but thanks for coming in. Yeah, like I said, I did it with the AI thing, so that's why it looks like it's actually is me, like a real picture of me, but it's just in the AI. That's all. So that's why it looks just like me. So it's so technology is technology these days. So you can almost do anything with AI now. I'll go overboard with it like some people do, but I do use it. I try to change my emoji every month. So we're about to have a new muffin. So I gotta put together another one soon. But appreciate you guys, man. I'm out. Like I said, join me. I'll be live Friday night. We'll play the Call of Duty beta. Just gonna be a later time. It'll be at 10 o'clock p.m. instead of 8. Because I'm gonna go out hang with my brother tomorrow and do some things tomorrow. So so the show would be late. It'd be 10 o'clock, and then Sunday we'll be back 8 o'clock. I gotta put together a poll for you guys to vote for. So that's it for me. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. Thank you, Rolanda, for coming in late. But I'm already finished. So maybe I'll talk to you soon on the back end. And I see you guys. Thank you guys, man. Appreciate y'all support. We're gonna celebrate Sunday night. Can't wait for that. I'm gonna some things together for y'all, and I appreciate y'all. I see y'all tomorrow night. See y'all tomorrow night. Keep your notifications on. Check out my community wall. I'm gonna put some stuff on there for you guys. And I'll see you guys then. Peace and love. This was episode 341 of the Solid Sports Video Blog. Can't wait the football season. We get close. Can't wait for that. And appreciate you guys coming here today. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Peace and love, guys. Thank you.